Being a celebrity isn't a walk in the park. From impossible standards to relentless pressure, the spotlight demands more than most people can imagine. Unfortunately, not everyone can handle the stress, and some find themselves caught in the devastating grip of drugs. But just how bad can things get? And is there really a way out of Hollywood's destructive cycle? Here are the top 10 famous actors who were absolutely destroyed by drugs and where they are now. In the dazzling 80s, Robert Downey Jr. was Hollywood's golden boy, effortlessly charming everyone with his winning smile and raw talent. As the youngest heartthrob of the Brat Pack, he stole hearts in Weird Science and earned critical acclaim and an Oscar nod for his role in Chaplin. But as the 1990s hit, the scene turned grim. RDJ's life spiraled into chaos faster than you can say cocaine, and Hollywood's shining star became a tabloid nightmare. By 1996, his world came crashing down spectacularly when he was busted with a drug cocktail and a loaded gun. That year, his behavior escalated to legendary levels, culminating in the infamous Goldilocks incident, a drug-fueled crash into a neighbor's bed that left everyone stunned. Despite rehab stints and jail time, RDJ's fall seemed unstoppable. Yet, in a twist of cosmic luck in 2001, he found his lifeline. With sheer grit and a hefty dose of chance, he clawed his way back into the spotlight, ultimately reinventing himself as the iconic Iron Man. Today, Robert Downey Jr. stands as a phoenix risen from the ashes, a living testament to how even the most dramatic disasters can pave the way for the most spectacular comebacks.
And the truth is, it's a combination of things. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I just, I'm just really glad that nowadays it doesn't occupy my thoughts. And
right.
But I really don't know anyone who hasn't had some sort of encounter with it, whether it was a family member or whatever. And I'm just glad I'm sitting here and I wasn't part of the monologue.
And
how do you...
Especially when you see how I partied, man. It was epic. The run I was on made Sinatra, Flynn, Jagger, Richards, all of them just look like, droopy-eyed, armless children.
Where do we even begin with Charlie Sheen? Once the king of Hollywood's wild side, this guy had it all. Movies, TV, women, and a cool $1.25 million per episode on 2.5 Men. But that all came crashing down, and it was not pretty. Drugs. Lots of drugs. This man wasn't just partying, he was practically writing the book on self-destruction. This guy went through 3 rehab stints in 12 months. But that wasn't all, as he followed it up with getting fired for trashing his show's creator, claiming he had tiger blood and was a warlock. Somehow, it only got worse. Sheen was living with not one, but 2 women he called his goddesses, all while making bizarre, rambling videos and bragging about his $50,000 spree on escorts. The guy even admitted to using so much cocaine that it triggered a stroke, and then bam, in 2015 he revealed he was HIV positive, sending shockwaves through the world. Now, he's faded from the limelight, a tragic tale of how drugs can chew you up and spit you out. From the top of the world to barely hanging on, that's Charlie Sheen for you.
It's, as I said, there's nothing left in that world. I exhausted it completely. The only thing left would be something catastrophic, even more so than that intro reel. Yeah. How about that? But it's there were times, and I've had time in the past. I had 5 years at one point, so it's not like someone's selling me a myth.
Yeah.
But every other time I was led there through an intervention or a rehab or a detox or a thing in this
drama, total disaster. One of the saddest stories in Hollywood, Judy Garland's life behind the glitz and glamour was a heartbreaking tale of addiction and exploitation. Starting at just 16 during her role as Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, MGM, the studio she worked for, put her under immense pressure to maintain a certain image. It got so bad that they rationed her food and gave her amphetamines to keep up with grueling filming schedules. These pep pills were supposed to keep her energized, but they also led to insomnia, which was treated with sleeping pills, creating a vicious cycle of drug dependency. But that wasn't all, because her ex-husband, Sid Luft, later revealed that Judy was also mistreated on set, even by fellow actors. The Munchkin performers reportedly harassed her, adding emotional torment to her already difficult situation. With constant pressure to perform, manage her weight, and look a certain way, Judy struggled with mental health issues, mood swings, and alcoholism. Sadly, by the time she claimed her Academy Award for The Wizard of Oz, she was already deep in addiction, and this yellow brick road would lead to her death. These early years of mistreatment and drug use would follow her throughout her life, ultimately contributing to her tragic death at just 47. Sadly, despite her immense talent and success, Judy's struggles highlight the darker side of Hollywood's golden age. Known for his eco-warrior and vegan image, River Phoenix was Hollywood's moneymaker, but sadly this golden boy hid a darker side that conflicted with his public persona. Our boy was spiraling into a dangerous relationship with drugs by the early 90s. Shockingly, his descent into addiction began subtly, with friends and industry insiders noticing changes during the filming of My Own Private Idaho. Immersing himself in the gritty street life of his character, Phoenix reportedly began dabbling in heroin, a decision that would shadow him for years. By the time he was working on Dark Blood, Phoenix's drug use had escalated as he was often seen looking disoriented on set, and whispers of his struggles grew louder and louder in Hollywood. On the tragic night of October 30th, 1993, at just 23 years old, Phoenix's drug habits led to a fatal overdose outside the Viper Room after snorting a lethal mix of heroin and cocaine known as a speedball. The public was left reeling, questioning how such a promising young star hailed for his talent in activism had fallen so far into the grip of addiction. Sadly, Hollywood lost another bright light, and Rivers' death became a cautionary tale of Hollywood's darker side, overshadowing his once bright legacy. The story of the acting legend who gave us Oscar-worthy performances but lost the final battle to his demons is no secret, but remains one of the saddest stories in Hollywood so far. I mean, who wasn't obsessed with his iconic role in Capote, right? But behind all that Hollywood glam, Hoffman was fighting a much darker script. Fast forward to February 2014, and things took a tragic turn. He was found in his Greenwich Village apartment, heroin bags scattered like some twisted party favor, with 65 full bags and 5 empty. Can you believe it? The man had it all. 3 kids, Broadway tributes, yet there he was, undone by addiction. The saddest part was he had been in rehab before and tried to get clean, but the relapse hit hard, and when his friend found him with the needle still in his arm, the world gasped. But those who knew him probably weren't surprised. In respect, Broadway dimmed its lights, but we all know they'll never shine quite the same without him. A true talent lost in the cruel grip of drugs. Now, all we have are memories of an actor who could have given us so much more. Going from Hollywood's darling to tragedy's punchline, Brad's life was nothing but tragic. He was that troubled but oh so talented kid who shot to stardom at just 12 in The Client. Chiseled, sharp, and untamed, he had that bad boy charm directors drooled over. But behind that tough exterior was a boy screaming for help. You see, Brad spiraled fast, and by 18 he was already shooting up coke, and all hope for his career seemed to have crashed. Just like that. His life became a series of arrests, rehab stints, and headlines that screamed Hollywood's fallen child star. And sadly, no amount of charm could mask the devastation of addiction. But things got worse by the age of 25, as on January 15, 2008, Brad Renfro was found dead. A life once so full of promise was snuffed out by heroin. It's another tragic, cautionary tale, a heartbreaking symbol of how fame, drugs, and a lost boy's cries for help don't always get answered. Ask anyone, and they will tell you Mickey Rourke was once the smoldering heartthrob of the 80s. With hits like 9.5 Weeks, Mickey had it all: fame, fortune, and those dreamy good looks. But then, the party went on too long, and things suddenly got messy real fast. Without warning, he swapped movie sets for boxing rings, and trust me, his face didn't come out looking all that cute. Drugs, booze, erratic behavior, you name it, Mickey did it. The man basically became a walking disaster, and soon enough, Hollywood began to write him off. He was this close to becoming just another remember when, until he pulled an Iron Man role and clawed his way back with The Wrestler. But don't get it twisted, this wasn't some glamorous glow-up. It was raw, gritty, and a whole lot of tears. But now, well, he's no Robert Downey Jr. comeback story, but he's still kicking around in the movies. Though let's be real, the Mickey Rourke magic has forever been tainted. Tragic, yet oh so Hollywood. Pop icon and reoccurring joke in Family Guy, Lindsay Lohan stands today as a great example of how evil drugs can be, but also just how strong humans can be. From the glitzy red carpets to the dingy rehab centers, Lindsay's journey has been nothing short of a roller coaster. Her addiction saga began when she was just in her 20s, bombarded by the pressures of fame and fortune. Soon enough, she was a regular at the local police station, getting brought in for crimes that ranged from DUIs to possession charges, like a real-life soap opera. After an endless loop of rehab stints, probation violations, and jail time, that would make even the most hardened criminals cringe. Lohan's career finally took a nosedive as studios shied away from her erratic behavior and legal woes. It was like watching a once promising actress unravel before our very eyes. But then things suddenly flipped again, and Lindsay, at her worst, began trying to claim her life, bravely stepping into rehab and truly seeking help. Thankfully, the story is not over yet, as she is on the mend, fighting to rebuild both her career and her life. And although we can't predict how far she will go, one thing is certain: she is putting in the work. The king of physical comedy, the prince of triumphs, the man who made us laugh until our sides ached, Chris Farley really was one of a kind. Sadly, behind those hilarious skits and endearing antics, there was a tragedy brewing. Chris Farley, the lovable giant of comedy, met his untimely demise at just 33, not from a lack of talent, but from the destructive grip of addiction. Farley, whose offbeat charm on Saturday Night Live and films like Tommy Boy charmed millions, was a wreck behind closed doors. And sadly, his comedic genius couldn't mask the demons he battled, drugs and alcohol. Despite friends like Adam Sandler and Chevy Chase trying to pull him back from the brink with warnings and tough love, Farley's life continued to spiral out of control. By December 1997, Farley was engulfed in a haze of cocaine and morphine, a lethal cocktail that claimed his life just like it had his idol, John Belushi. On December 18, 1997, he was found dead in his Chicago apartment, leaving behind a legacy of laughter and another cautionary tale of how fame and addiction can destroy even the brightest of stars. Before he became the iconic Joker, Ledger was a rising star whose life was a whirlwind of dazzling talent and personal demons. He was the charismatic Aussie who charmed the world in 10 Things I Hate About You, and then blew everyone away with his raw, emotional depth in Brokeback Mountain. At the time, he was on top of the world until the Joker came calling. Ledger's transformation into the Joker was as intense as it was transformative. He threw himself into the role with such fervor that it bordered on madness. Soon enough, insomnia drove him to a cocktail of prescription drugs, Ambien, oxycodone, and the like. As time went on, Ledger's battle with these medications became a precarious tightrope walk that ended in disaster. In one of the saddest news stories to date, on January 22, 2008, Ledger was found deceased in his New York apartment, the victim of an accidental overdose. His death was like the ultimate plot twist, a tragic finale that came just as he had delivered a performance for the ages. Ledger, forever the tragic clown, leaves us with a haunting legacy and a sobering reminder of the dark side of fame and fortune. And perhaps what makes it worse is that all he wanted to do was give a stellar performance and get some good night's sleep. And there you have it, 10 famous actors whose lives were derailed by drugs. From brilliant careers to heartbreaking downfalls, these stories remind us that the Hollywood spotlight can sometimes cast the darkest shadows. But we want to hear from you. Which actor's story hit you the hardest? Did we leave out any tragic tales that deserve a mention? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and let us know which stories you want us to explore next. If you found this video eye-opening, check out our list of the top 10 worst alcoholics in Hollywood. You won't believe the comeback stories we have lined up for you. Until next time, stay curious, and as always, keep shining bright.